In a small agricultural village in northern India, a 7-year-old boy named Ashok woke up to a devastating reality. A sudden illness had claimed both of his parents. In a matter of days, he was left with absolutely nothing. No family, no savings, and zero safety net. The local community didn't rally around him. Neighbors looked at the boy, decided he was a burden carrying bad luck, and outsourced his survival. They dropped him off at a small ashram on the outskirts of the village, leaving him in the care of an aging, impoverished Baba who survived entirely on donated scraps. For the next 8 years, Ashok lived in a state of psychological avoidance. He spent his days playing games with the village kids, distracting himself from the precarious reality of his existence. He ate the Baba's food, slept under a borrowed roof, and assumed the future would arrive. That illusion shattered when he turned 15. The Baba sat him down and pointed at the kids Ashok played with, noting they had parents, inheritances, and land. Ashok had none of that. His survival, the Baba explained, would soon depend entirely on his own unproven labor. The games stopped that night. Ashok stopped looking at the stars and started looking at the dirt. For an individual starting with absolutely nothing, the first requirement is the decision to move from a state of waiting into a state of doing. But deciding to work is only half the battle. Ashok hit the dirt roads looking for odd jobs, and the local economy immediately rejected him. To a market, an unproven, unskilled teenager is a liability. Society rarely offers opportunity on goodwill alone. He finally found an opening at a milkman's yard by offering to handle the tasks no one else would touch. It was grueling physical labor, hauling heavy loads, scrubbing floors, and taking abuse. He traded that raw effort for basic sustenance and his first few coins. Ashok realized a single entry-level income would keep him poor forever. To rebuild his life, he needed volume. He added a second job helping a local woodcutter swing an axe, and a third job wading through mud to plant rice for farmers. 3 separate income streams now funneled into one central pool. Earning the money was only step 1. The Baba taught Ashok that money isn't meant for immediate relief. While others spent their wages on small comforts, Ashok whiffed on the bare minimum and meticulously hid his earnings, hoarding every spare coin. Raw physical exhaustion is merely the fuel. The actual math of building capital only begins when you successfully convert your daily sweat into stored, untouchable future resources. By 18, Ashok had built a small financial cushion, but his real leverage arrived by accident. When one of his boss's buffaloes fell ill, Ashok traveled to the nearest city to fetch a doctor. While there, he spotted a commercial dairy unloading massive amounts of milk. This city had plenty of customers, but almost no cows. This meant the same liter of milk that sold for a few coins in the village could be traded for 3 times that amount just a few miles away. Ashok had a bicycle, and he could bridge that geographic gap. He proposed taking his boss's surplus milk and transporting it directly to this higher-paying city market every single morning. He negotiated the terms of the trade. Ashok would assume all the transport labor and the risk of the daily journey. In exchange, the boss would get his usual village rate, and Ashok would keep the entire profit margin difference from the city. Breaking out of the working-class trap requires a shift in strategy. You stop selling your time by the hour and start capturing new value by leveraging logistics to close a gap in the market. By age 20, Ashok moved into his final phase, capital deployment. He took all the profits he had successfully hoarded from his transport route and purchased his own buffaloes. He fully severed his dependence on his employer and became a full owner. The physical proof of his effort stood at the edge of the village. He returned to the collapsing thatched hut he had inherited from his parents, the one he was forced to abandon as a child, and rebuilt it into a sturdy, squared room made of heavy concrete. The social dynamics of the village completely flipped. The community leaders who once dismissed him as a cursed orphan now pointed to his dairy operation as the gold standard of success. When the Baba who raised him eventually passed away, Ashok handled everything. He funded the final rites and the community feast entirely out of his own pocket, proving his complete self-sufficiency. Ashok's life was written through a series of entries in a daily ledger, earned through calloused hands, strict discipline, and the absolute refusal to wait for any permission from the universe. That is how a person builds their own reality.